What's shaking, everybody? It is that one guy. Hope you're having a wonderful day, or as they say in Detroit, where I lived for a while, hope you're having a blessed day. So I was taking a good look around my bike. There's a lot of upgrades coming on the way, or modifications I should say, because, you know, to each his own. I might call something an upgrade to my bike, and you might think that is not an upgrade, that looks like crap, or that's not helping, or whatever. But I was taking a look around my bike and admiring the dual front headlights, which is again something that some of you might think is lame, but I like it. And it made me think, hey, you know what, that kind of looks like, well, it looks like two things. It was before it was WALL-E from the Disney Pixar movie. WALL-E. It was Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Please, call me Johnny Five.
Again, it depends on how old you are, which one you relate to more. But that's what it reminded me of. And that got to me to thinking, although as much as I'd like to call my bike Large Robert, and that's not really the name that you would give your bike, because that's just a play on what it actually is. It's a Fat Bob, and I thought I was being hilarious by calling it Large Robert. So no, I thought it looked like WALL-E or Johnny Five. So I'm considering giving my bike a name, and either of those names could either be WALL-E or Johnny Five. So haven't decided. I've always, you know, ever since I saw the dual headlights, I've called it WALL-E, but then I remembered, oh, it's Johnny Five. And, you know, either one of those I could go with and be happy with as christening my bike under that name. But maybe I'll give it a little more time. And that begs the question for anyone who's paying attention or wants to join into the conversation or the question answering. Is, do you name your bike? Do you have a name for your bike? Have you had a bike that you've had a name for?
Do you know the McAllisters are going to France? Do you know if it's cold there? Do these vans get good gas mileage?
Did you name your bike immediately when you got it? Or did you ride it around for a while, get to know its personality, you know, its ins and outs before you decided to give it a name? Now, it's funny because that also made me think of the fact that some people I know who've had kids, children, offspring, they actually waited to name their child, you know, after, I don't remember, I think the longest that I've ever heard of was like 3 months, and they just called it the baby. And I thought that was kind of odd, but, you know, again, to each their own, to each his or her own. And they just hold off on the birth certificate. So on the birth certificate, I guess you can wait a certain amount of time, or if you have to submit it for record. And they just waited. And the funny thing about that, I think, is that a baby in 3 months, or however long it was, I don't think, and I've got 2 kids of my own, that my kids showed enough personality per se in their first couple months or few months of life for me to be like, oh, they're definitely a Susan or a Linda.
Your baby's name is Linda, Kimmy.
So whole different story, right? When you're talking about your bike, and maybe your bike does something funny that might warrant you giving it a certain name. So you would want to give it some time and get to know it before you gave it a name. So in the same vein as baby naming, most people will give it a name right away. But for bikes, is it the same way? Now, before I even had my bike, this bike that I'm riding right now, I was calling it WALL-E because of the dual front headlights. And then I saw somebody who was selling a Fat Bob, and I'm like, wait a minute, it only has the single headlight. And I found out that you could swap that out for a single headlight. And I just thought, blasphemy. The Fat Bob has a dual front headlight. It's no longer a Fat Bob. It kind of, to me, it just kind of looks like a Fat Boy. Minus the rear fender. So, anyway, that is my conversation topic for you all this afternoon. Your bike naming. Your bike christening. From thenceforth thou shalt be known as Johnny 5. I kind of like that. I kind of like Johnny 5. To me, it has a little more personality than Wally. And, you know, again, Johnny 5 harkens back to my youth, and not necessarily, and you know, Wally was definitely not in my youth. So I'm up for, actually, you know, if you've been watching my channel and you're like, dude, that is not Wally and that is not Johnny 5, this is what you should name your bike. Go ahead and leave it in the comments. I'll put a poll up there so you guys can vote between Wally and Johnny 5. But if you want to write in a vote in the comments, I'm all for it. I know there's a lot of clever dudes out there, and dudettes. Dudes and chicks, I don't know. I know there's a lot of guys and gals out there with very creative minds. So please, if you shall, leave something in the comments if you've got something really clever. Now, if you need some inspiration, I will also link the my walk around of my bike. But you should also know that there are, again, as I've said fairly recently, like 5 minutes ago, that modifications are coming. So if there's something that sticks out to you on my bike, it might not be there later. So take that into consideration. So I guess the three main the three main names, that's not confusing, are Large Robert, Johnny 5, and Wally. So if, again, I'll put that in the poll for you guys to vote on, and you can choose one, or you can write in your idea in the comments. Guys, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you would like to see more content, either past and or future, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to do that, and that would make my day. Go ahead. Actually sounds a little bit like Batman. Do it. Pull the trigger. Subscribe to me. I'm such a nerd. Alright guys, I won't see you, but you will see me later. And this is that one guy. I'm out.